A lot of debate in the pre-show BTN Live meeting about who should be grading the quarterbacks. I put a vote in for myself. Brandon Williams, we could hear him screaming all the way from Madison as a former wide receiver, wanted to comment on QBs. Eventually, we relented. Stan did play the position at Ohio State after all. So let's grade some Big Ten quarterbacks in Week 1 performances. I mean, it's tough to give J.T. Barrett anything other than an A, isn't it, after 7 touchdowns accounted for?
Luckily, he got the 7 touchdowns, because otherwise he probably would have been downgraded to a B-. But you're right, when you throw 7 touchdowns, when you have Heisman caliber numbers, it puts him back into the A category. But a guy that's played as many minutes as he had, you cannot throw a pick 6. And it was a bad pick 6. He forced the ball in, he looked it down, he was double covered, he should have never threw the ball. So because of it, he's got to get an A-.
You're still getting the game rust off you. The guy has 7 touchdowns, and you're considering, seriously, would have given him a B-. 1 pick 6 would have gone from A to B-.
5 touchdowns, he would have had a B+.
Man, you were a tough grader.
Can't throw the ball away, Rick.
Never want you in calculus.
Can't throw the ball away.
Tommy Armstrong, everybody's been saying all year long, if Armstrong protects the ball, Nebraska has a big year. Protected the ball. No turnovers in the win over Fresno. What's Tommy's Week 1 grade?
Tommy was a lot better, as you say, in protecting the football. 5 for 10, 108 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. He also had 42 yards and 2 touchdowns. But you got to be better than 50% passing. 5 for
10 times.
So that's why you got to be 8, 9 for 10. So I give him a B- only because of the 50% passing. He's a quarterback, and when it's time to throw, you got to be more efficient.
Would you like them to throw the ball more, or are you happy if they can with that run-pass mix?
You're always happy if you can run the ball effectively, dominate the line of scrimmage. You don't have to throw it a lot, but you have to be effective. And so if you're only going to throw it 10 times, you got to hit more of them. You got to get to 8 for 10.
One of the better stories that we followed throughout the offseason, the Michigan quarterback situation. Jake Rudock answered all those questions last year. But this year, even up until the first snap, is it going to be Wilton Speight? Is it going to be John O'Korn? It ended up being Speight, whose numbers were pretty good. His Week 1 grade is what, Stan?
Again, you can't turn the ball over. So that's the reason why the downgrade for me wouldn't Speight. But 10 for 13, 145 yards, 3 touchdowns, the 1 interception on the first play. Here's the good thing. It was the very first play of the game. Easily he could have fell apart. He did not. He came back, had an outstanding game. So because of that, I'm going to give him a B+. But you got to learn that you have to protect the football, because against better opponents, that's going to cost you down the line.
And I've had some folks ask me already after that Week 1 performance, do you think Harbaugh decides to experiment with O'Korn in Week 2 or in Week 3? Does he want to see what the backup QB would be like? My answer at this point is, especially from an NFL mentality where Harbaugh spends so much time, if you have a starter and he's winning games, you don't mess with the formula, right?
Well, number one, you don't mess with his confidence. That's the most important thing from the quarterback position. And after that first play of the game, he was very solid, and he's only going to get better with more minutes. Keep playing him.
All right, stay in that state. And Tyler O'Connor, now the unquestioned leader. Yes, he was the guy who helped Michigan State knock off Ohio State in Columbus last year, but he's the unquestioned guy now. Right. There's no Connor Cook. He is the man to run this offense. How do you do against Furman?
It's his show, right? So 13 for 18, 190 yards, 3 touchdowns. But again, 1 interception early in that game. You have to protect the football. That's the most important thing for any quarterback. Then he struggled early on, missed some open guys, got better as the game went, hit some big throws at the end. So I'm going to give him a B-. And this is the reason why I'm grading him so hard. He's been around a long time. Watched a lot of good quarterbacks there. You have to be smarter with the football.
How much better does he have to be for this Michigan State team to challenge Michigan and Ohio State? Does he have to be an elite quarterback?
That's a great question. I don't think he has to be an elite quarterback, but he has to be efficient and he has to protect the football. This defense will get better. They've got great depth at the running back position. The offensive line will get better as week goes on. But against Michigan, Ohio State, Wisconsin, if you turn the football over, you're going to put your team in bad position.
All right, last question about Michigan State. They have a bye week this week. It's a really oddly timed bye. Then they go to Notre Dame on September 17th. Is it a good week for a guy like O'Connor to have a bye, or would Mark D'Antonio rather he gets back out there and keeps any rhythm going?
Yeah, I think it's a good week, because now you got plenty of time to break down every ounce of that tape, watch some Notre Dame tape, and get yourself in position to play the game of your life, especially with Coach D'Antonio. He's phenomenal after bye weeks.
All right, finally, Trace McSorley at Penn State takes over for Christian Hackenberg. A lot made about offensive coordinator Joe Moorhead running a completely different style, though Saquon Barkley is still going to be the workhorse of this offense. So with all that in mind, how do you grade Trace McSorley's Week 1 effort?
I thought it was a very good start. 16 for 31, 209 yards, 2 touchdowns. Here you go, 0 interceptions. Plus, he ran for 47 yards. For a guy starting his first game, that's very efficient. Didn't put the team in any bad positions. The only thing I don't like, again, is the completion percentage. You got to be better than 50%. So because of it, he's got a slight downgrade. He almost had an A. I'll give him a B+. You got to throw the ball more accurately and be more efficient to get an A grade.
From downgrade to upgrade, you want to talk about an upgrade? It's the defense that Penn State will be facing this weekend. They head to Pittsburgh, play at Heinz Field against Pitt. Former Michigan State DC Pat Narduzzi, great defensive mind, now the head guy there. What does Mick Sorley need to do this weekend against that beast defense, that's what they call it there in Pitt, to give Penn State, who is an underdog, a chance to win?
Not only that, Pitt has a solid run game, right? And they want to control the tempo. So the first thing you have to do, as always, is protect the football. Don't put your defense in a bad position. You've got a great running game. Allow Saquon to lead the charge, and you got some outstanding wide receivers. They're going to be a jump ball in this game that you have to hit at one point. So you want to be able to stretch the defense.
They have good wide receivers. Penn State's wide receiving core is absolutely underrated in my estimation.
So play within yourself. Don't force the ball. A punt is a good thing. Allow the game to come to you. And when you get that one opportunity, be accurate on the throw and use your legs as much as possible.
I think it's going to be a fascinating game this weekend in Pittsburgh. I most certainly will be watching. Up next.